11 wooden steps, and 51 boot prints ahead of you, already gone still in the blood. Smoke from the burned ship still catches at the back of your throat. A chaplain reads names off a list faster than any man wants is called. An officer argues with the hangman somewhere behind you about the order. Don't look back. Count the doors instead. There aren't any left. Rewind. None of this exists yet. Not the rope, not the list, not the 51 names ahead of yours. Somewhere customs, clerk logs, cargo manifests, nobody in your family will ever own a line of. You want more than a manifest entry's worth of a life. Wanting that, it turns out, has a price nobody prices honestly up front. Your brother Robbie is 9, coughs through every winter, and still insists on hauling the nets himself, so you can mend them instead. The shack smells of tar and drying cod, same as it has your whole life. One good coat between the both of you. Salt is already working into the cracks of your palms. It will never fully leave them again. Supper is codtail and hard-bread, split 3 ways by weight, not by hunger. Robbie trades you the bigger half for a story anyway. Same as always. The one about ships that come back from the Indies with more silver than the church roof cost. You tell it easy. Somewhere past the harbor mouth, a captain shorthanded for his next crossing is already asking around for hands. The merchant captain signs you on for a wage that sounds enormous until the purser explains it. £1.10 a month, paid on return, if the voyage turns a profit and if he remembers. Salt cracks deeper into your palms, hauling line you've never touched before. Robbie's cough follows you down the gangplank in your head for 3 straight days at sea. A sloop under a black flag runs you down 11 days out, and the merchant captain doesn't even reach for a pistol before striking his colors. Fighting a crew that outguns you 3-1 buys nobody a funeral worth having. Cannon smoke drifts across both decks like fog that won't lift. Their quartermaster reads the choice out loud, bored like he's done it 40 times. Join the account or swim. The articles get read aloud before anyone signs. Every clause, because a crew that can't read still gets to vote on what it lives and dies by. Equal shares, equal say, a captain who can be unelected as easily as elected. You make your mark next to 11 others who can't write their names either. Josiah Blunt, the quartermaster, watches you do it without blinking. Josiah Blunt has a scar for every year he's outlived the men who trained him, and his first lesson isn't about a cutlass. The articles feed a green hand who earns his keep, and a share who's voted it. You're neither yet. Salt keeps working the calluses deeper while you learn to splice rope in the dark, hands remembering what your eyes still can't. The articles feed you. They can just as easy starve you. Earn the difference. The first split happens under a single swinging lamp, pieces of 8 counted into piles twice, because nobody trusts the first count, including the man doing it. Full shares go first. Specialist shares next. Green hand split what's left, which tonight is nothing. The prize barely covered the powder it cost to take. Other men's palms fill. Yours stay empty and salt cracked in yours. 6 months and 2 prizes later, the crew votes you a full share. 1 show of hands, no ceremony. Josiah reading your name off the roll like it always belonged there. A full share means a full vote too. On the next target, the next captain, whether a wounded man gets put ashore or carried. Power here is 1 man, 1 voice, counted out loud in front of everyone. A Portuguese trader tries to outrun you into a squall and loses the bet. Grape shot across her rigging, a boarding axe through her foremast shrouds, smoke thick enough to taste copper at the back of your throat. Her captain surrenders before you're halfway up the side. Below decks, crates of sugar, indigo, and a strong box nobody on her crew will admit knowing the combination to. 6 pounds, your first real share, counted into your own 2 hands under the swinging lamp this time. 6 pounds is 4 months of a merchant wage for 1 afternoon of terror. Robbie's letter, when it finally reaches shore months later, doesn't say thank you. It says the coughing stopped and the roof doesn't leak on his side anymore. That line buys more than the money did. Nassau spends money faster than any prize can make it. Rum, a room with an actual bed, a debt to a tavern keeper who smiles like he already owns your next voyage. Gideon Slate buys a round with coin that doesn't match his share. Nobody asks where the difference came from except you, once out loud. He remembers exactly who asked. It's the first time he decides he doesn't like you. A dead gunner's post opens up ugly. A swivel gun took his arm off at the shoulder, and the crew votes you into it before the deck's properly swapped. 1.5 shares now. and a station on the gun deck where the difference between living and not living is measured in seconds you don't get to practice. Salt and powder both live permanently under your fingernails. A Royal Navy sloop mistakes you for easy hunting and nearly isn't wrong. Her first broadside takes 2 men off the rail beside you. Spray off the shot still warm on your face. Your hands load faster than your head can keep up with, which is, Josiah tells you after, the entire point of drilling until it's boring. Your pulse doesn't slow for an hour. None of it reads like courage. The articles have a page for exactly this. 800 pieces of 8 for a leg, 600 for an arm, written down and voted on before anyone's blood is actually on the deck. A wounded gunner 2 ships over-collects his 800 without a doctor's signature or a magistrate's approval. Just the crew's word kept. No merchant captain in the world pays that. Middle watch, dead calm. The kind of night the sea goes flat as poured glass, and every sound carries twice as far as it should. Josiah stands the rail beside you longer than the watch requires, quiet in a way that isn't like him. Gideon Slate hasn't spoken to you in 3 days. Salt sits cold and familiar in the cracks of your palms. Nothing is wrong yet. That's the part that doesn't sit right. 2 Navy frigates come out of a dawn mist with no warning shot, and half the crew is dead or taken before anyone's fully dressed. Josiah goes down, covering a run to the boats, and doesn't get back up. Gideon reaches the quarterdeck first and tells the boarding officer, loud enough for the whole crew to hear, that the missing strongbox was your idea. Nobody has time to check if that's true. Articles don't care whose idea it was, just whose name gets said. The vote takes 4 minutes. Marooning, not hanging, because even Gideon's lie can't quite manufacture enough evidence for a rope, and some scrap of the code still holds. 1 pistol, 1 shot, a keg of water, and a sandbar that disappears at high tide in about 11 hours. Salt is already in the cracks of your palms. It just has nothing left to hold on to out here. A fishing lugger out of Nassau finds you on the 4th tide, more out of drifting curiosity than mercy, and the old man at the tiller doesn't ask a single question the whole way in. He's seen a marooned man's face before. Robbie's last letter is still dry in an oilskin pouch you never once let go of. You don't thank the old man out loud. He wouldn't believe you meant it yet. A different crew, new articles, and this time the vote that matters is for Quartermaster. The man who splits the loot, settles disputes, and can overrule a captain on anything that isn't a chase or a fight. They elect you on Josiah's old reputation as much as your own, which is its own kind of debt. You read every clause aloud yourself this time. The richest split of your life so far, 300 pounds, your 2 shares counted out clean, plus a locked sea chest from the same prize that nobody on either crew can open or claim. It's carved with initials that match no one aboard. You set it aside instead of forcing the lock. Some doors, Josiah used to say, you leave shut until they're actually yours to open. Governor Woods Rogers' pardon is nailed to half the posts in Nassau by the time you make port. Surrender now. Swear off the account. Keep whatever you've got left. Half your crew takes it on the spot. You count what you've actually got left. 300 pounds, already spent on debts and a coat for a trip home. You keep not taking. You sail again instead. The old captain freezes during a chase that needed a decision 10 seconds ago, and the crew votes him out by acclamation before the enemy's ships, even out of range. The fastest election in the history of this particular deck. You're captain by nightfall, with absolute say over exactly one thing. What happens in a fight? Every other decision on this ship still isn't yours alone to make. A Spanish treasure galleon, low in the water and slow to turn, is the kind of prize captains dream about and mostly never see. You close under a false flag, run up the black one at 40 yards, and her crew strikes without firing a single gun back. Smoke you never had to make drifts off her own frightened deck instead. It's the easiest fight of your entire career. 1,000 pound a share, the kind of number Josiah told you about once, from a raid decades before either of you was born, a story sailors half believe. You believe it now. Personally, hands closing around your own count twice for accuracy. A share like this comes once, if it comes at all. You already know you're going to spend every pound of it. The pardon notice is still nailed to the same post, whether a year duller, when you make port with 1,000 pounds and nowhere honest left to explain where it came from. A customs officer who used to be a privateer himself offers you the paperwork personally, almost gently. You buy a round for the whole crew instead, and a faster ship, and tell yourself there's time later. 3 more captains fall and under your flag inside a single season. Not by force, by reputation, the way water finds the lowest point without being told to. For ships, close to 300 men, more real command than most colonial governors can raise on a bad week. You're still, on paper, exactly one vote among your own crew. Nobody above you has ever once heard your actual name. The great cabin has stern windows wide enough to frame 4 hulls riding at anchor under one moon, and a chart table crowded with routes half of Europe would pay to see. A chest of gold sits under it. You cannot legally spend 1 coin of in any port that matters. Command everything. Own nothing you could hand across an honest counter. Robbie's letter says he's bought his own boat now, outright. None of your name attached to it. 2 Navy frigates that spent 4 months studying your patterns finally guessed the right cove, and a squadron built on reputation turns out to need every ship to actually be present to fight. Yours is the only one that was that morning. Chains, a burned deck, 11 wooden steps waiting at the far end of a very short voyage. Salt is still in the cracks of your palms. Rope again, just not the kind you know how to splice. The Admiralty Court doesn't take long. The flag, the logbook, 3 witnesses who trade their own necks for yours, and a verdict everyone in the room already knew walking in. Cape Coast Castle hangs 52 men off your own count that same year. The largest mourning of gallows this ocean has ever seen. Gideon Slate is item 41 on a list read out loud in a voice that doesn't pause for any of the names. The pardon's still open. Say the words, and it ends here. 11 wooden steps again. 52 boot prints ahead of yours instead of 51, and the same chaplain reading names in the same flat voice. The young officer's offer is still sitting in the air, unanswered, exactly where you left it. Salt is still in the cracks of your palms, rope again, and your hands already know exactly how this particular knot is tied. Nobody has said your name yet.